All right, welcome everyone to the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. I have no idea what number reaction piece this is, but we're just going to get right into it. It's been quite a week for WWE. Fastlane, as we record this, it is what is it, Tuesday? It's Wednesday the 24th. My bad. My days and nights are all mixed up right now. It's February 24th, 2016, a Wednesday. Last Sunday was Fastlane, and then we had Monday Night Raw after that. I'm just gonna welcome the guys here. We have Cory, aka C-Dub, the Professor, and the Ultimate Keyboard Warrior, Brian Connolly, is here as well. Gentlemen, welcome.
What's up?
Not much. I'll be honest with you guys. Like I had I still have a bunch of notes in front of me as far as a full Fastlane recap. We could get into that tonight if you want, but if you guys would rather just kind of talk the state of WWE right now, there's a lot of different stuff going on, not just this week, but the last almost couple months it seems. Do you guys want?
I should say this is my first appearance in 3 months, so there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been busy, so I mean, but I think we've been wanting to get this kind of out of the way for a while as far as just vent stuff. I know, Brian, you felt that way. Cory, certainly you're covering a lot of stuff over on chronocord.com. What do you guys think about everything that's been happening this week?
Brian, I will defer to you first, sir.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, it's been a while since we've been meaning to discuss the Rumble and Fastlane, and there really wasn't anything that jumped out at me. It was rather lackluster, both of them, kind of predictable. Until this past Monday, when I got a little flashback.
Yeah, let's just get into the big story right now. Shane McMahon returned to WWE TV after what has it been, 6 years since he's been on screen?
The last time we saw him on Raw.
Yeah.
Has it been that long? My God.
His last match was against Randy Orton.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so Shane McMahon is back. They brought him on basically to announce this whole angle that he wants to. I guess he made a deal with, the storyline goes that he made a deal with Vince years ago before he went off and, had his own businesses and, left the company, that he was still in the line of succession. And I guess supposedly bailed Vince out of some kind of situation that we haven't heard about yet.
What a bunch of shit. I feel like George Lucas wrote this shit.
I was thinking it may or may not be related to that time Donald Trump bought Raw.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Other than that, it would be the Benoit situation, but I don't think he helped him out of that.
Yeah, no. First of all, they're not going to talk about Benoit. That's not going to happen. But it's him who must not be named.
Talk about the lesser of two evils in that scenario. Jesus.
Right.
Or it could be Hulk Hogan, the other Who.
Yeah.
Or it could be Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the actual Who.
Or Quang.
That's just, that's not a Who. That's just a what? What are we? Why are we talking about these guys?
Or Fantasio, Mysterio. What was that guy's name? Fantasio. All right, yeah, we could go on and on about jobbers from the '90s. And
are we just naming characters that have existed now? Are we already getting into that?
I'll go first. Max Moon.
Yeah. All right.
Alex the Pug Porto. Beat that.
Mordecai.
Neil Hopper.
Cade Danson.
Oh, we're going real deep to guys who never even debuted.
Here's Arnie.
Eric Escobar.
Man, you guys know your random nonsense.
All right, well, let's get back to point. I mean, but they're implying that this has been something that's been in the works for years, and that Shane did some kind of backdoor deal with Vince, bailed him out of the. Bailed the company out, something in exchange for power. It's a surprisingly intricate story for most, as WWE goes. It seems like they're putting some thought into this.
It is very shocking. To me, this seems completely like a reactionary measure. Meltzer and a lot of the dirt sheet guys had been reporting, of course, on this. They didn't report flat out that Shane McMahon was returning, but Meltzer worded it, this was weeks ago, The Undertaker's opponent was set for WrestleMania, and it was not somebody currently on the WWE roster. That led a lot of people to speculate all kinds of wild stuff.
Right.
But, of course, that was what Meltzer was talking about.
Nobody, I didn't hear anyone anywhere predict Shane McMahon would be a possibility, which is good.
That you got to hand it to him. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
There was actually, believe it or not, one person, Reddit user Falcon Arrow, actually posted it a couple hours before Raw went on the air. So there was somebody who knew. But what's funny is whenever he reported it, everybody was like, yeah, right, news, whatever.
You got a mole in the locker room.
Yeah, but whoever this Falcon Arrow is, great job. But to me, this is completely a reactionary thing. A lot of people have been saying that this is the big storyline for control of WWE for the next generation, that they've been pitching this for years, and I've been hearing about it for years, but I can't help but feel like the decision to pull the trigger on this storyline right now is just a little bit reactionary to both the fact that they are down a ton of superstars right now, and not so superstars. But also the fact that their ratings have been going down, their stock's been going down. Shane even addressed it in the promo.
I was like, oh wow, it's like
everything Shane acknowledged. Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay, this is getting into shoot territory. This is interesting.
Yeah, I like it when you can't tell the difference. I mean, obviously I can tell the difference, but
right.
when they blur the line between reality and kayfabe, it's pretty interesting.
And considering that Vince McMahon told Shane, I'll give you a fucking beating.
Yeah. What was that?
Thing.
Vince dropped the F-bomb.
Vince drops the F-bomb.
Is there an uncensored version of that? I need to hear what he said.
There is.
I think it leaked somewhere, like someone took it on their phone or something like that. And it's just
he definitely said you're fucking. He said fucking or motherfucking?
Fucking. You're going to get a fucking beating. Jack, you're going to have some editing work to do.
Dude, if that doesn't prove that Vince has gone full-blown senile now with the
Right.
Don't Touch Me Titus O'Neil.
Right. Kayfabe News had a great article that says Vince suspends himself for 90 days.
I mean,
he wouldn't have that.
I mean, I guess in theory, Vince would be the one to have to pay the fine, but he would also have to answer to his shareholders. But this whole storyline, this whole return of Shane McMahon, guys, this is a big point that I'd like to make. That we kind of discussed this off the air a little bit, but I can't help but feel like this is Plan B. And Plan A is if John Cena can return in time for WrestleMania to wrestle as Shane's surrogate in this match.
That's been speculated. That wouldn't completely surprise me, to be honest.
I heard years ago it was supposed to be Triple H versus The Rock for control of the company, and they kind of scratched that idea.
Yep.
And the Cena thing, I mean, Cena versus Undertaker would be a good retirement match for the Undertaker. It just doesn't look like they're gonna be winding down his career anytime soon.
Right. It's hard to tell. Getting back to what you suggested, Corey. Like a Triple H versus Rock. Which one of you guys suggested that? Was that you, Brian, or Corey?
Yeah, he was saying John Cena versus the Undertaker.
Right.
But Cena fighting on behalf of Shane. Although we could also have Sting fight the Undertaker. I don't know if he's even cleared medically.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're putting Sting in the Hall of Fame that weekend, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of bizarre. But, I mean, that'd be a cool send-off for Sting and the Undertaker if need be. In Hell in a Cell, that'd be amazing.
It would be pretty cool. It would be, the Shane thing, it almost kind of harkens back to, the Invasion angle. Where it's like him and Stephanie kind of going against Vince and that whole thing, and
that's part of it that makes it so dated. It's just like they did the alliance shit with Paul Heyman. That was 2001.
A little bit, but I mean, I think it still plays a little bit just because it's it does kind of mirror some of the real life struggles because it's obviously, I'm sure Shane had some ideas that his dad didn't want to do,
my only other problem with these control of WWE storylines is, doesn't everybody remember Survivor Series last year, in 2014, when Dolph Ziggler helped put the Authority out of power and Sting debuted?
Yeah,
and then,
that lasted about 5 minutes and then they were back.
Yeah. and then Triple H and Stephanie are back in power. They're always gonna be, no matter what you do. So
to kind of piggyback off of that, I think what the difference is, and I think maybe the crowd, I mean, Shane got a hell of a reception. Great pop.
Yeah.
But I feel like the difference in this, compared to all the other battling McMahon storylines we've seen, and this is going to be the biggest sticking point, is if Shane McMahon or his surrogate or whatever it may be, let's say Shane wins or Cena wins or whoever wins at WrestleMania and Shane does take control. If that isn't reflected in the programming by a change in the way that they book things, less filler, you're not throwing out crap matches, everybody's got a place on the card. I mean, there needs to be stylistic changes here. The format of Raw has pretty much been the same for a decade or more now. You've got your opening monologue deal, and then you've got usually 1-2 good matches in the first hour, a bunch of crap in the second hour, and then you got your hot close in the third hour.
Right.
It hasn't exactly been must-see TV for the past few years.
Guys, this raises a little bit more of an interesting question, and that is, like, in what capacity is Shane really back, really in the company? Like, is he actually working for WWE again? Is he just an on-air character? Does he have an office job in WWE anymore? And if so, does he have creative control at all? What's going on behind the scenes is what I'm very curious about.
Yeah, man, it's hard to say.
To my knowledge, Shane has retained ownership as far as his stock in WWE, and I believe at this point he actually owns more than Stephanie, because Stephanie has been kind of selling off her stock here and there in recent years. I'm not sure what the actual percentages work out to, but Shane has maintained his interest in WWE this entire time. As far as him being back with the company in a business role, an actual title, I don't believe that's the case. I think what we may end up seeing is Shane as purely an on-air talent, not actually being, day-to-day. He's not going to be in the office in Stamford doing stuff at a desk.
Right. I know he's had a few other business ventures over the years, like deals and with cables and cable companies in China and various things. Yeah. So I didn't know if he had a full-time job with the company back, and that kind of remains to be seen.
Will this create some kind of power struggle between Shane and Triple H at some point? I feel like Triple H needs to be involved.
Well, there's been some talks, perhaps, that which, I mean, none of us know, obviously. We don't know how these people interact outside of television, but there's been some talks that maybe Shane and Paul, Triple H, are kind of, not really at odds, but maybe that Shane kind of feels like Triple H came in there and kind of stole a little bit of his thunder as far as coming in and being the one to take control and have his own little division of WWE that Triple H now has with NXT.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you compare Triple H's NXT to Shane McMahon's WCW, that
was never a thing,
Right.
So, tough to compare.
You got to give Triple H credit for what, there's all these injuries on Stephanie's watch and stuff, but that's really not her fault.
I don't think so, no.
It's just the fact that they haven't had all of these Tyler Breeze Ascension call-ups that aren't exactly setting the world on fire. But that's their next in line, is those guys.
You hit the nail right on the head with that. Whenever the top guys go down with injury, WWE should have 10 different people that they could plug right into their place and it not be a problem. But I think that's really the most symptomatic thing of why WWE has not been succeeding in recent years, is because they've failed to do that.
They're not going to find enough.
They're supposed to be in the business of creating characters, creating stars, and for some reason they're not consistent with that.
Well, and Cena was even a fluke. 2002, he had debuted and nobody gave a shit. Then by Halloween or so, he developed that character of the you can't see me word life thing, and you kind of have to take some kind of responsibility. Like, all these guys are expecting to be made superstars. You got to have some kind of drawing, something, some kind of gimmick. Like, they're too vanilla, to quote Kevin Nash.
Go out there and look at the New Day. Those guys went from the outhouse to the penthouse in a year.
Look at Big E. My God, 2 years ago, he was very just, I don't know, didn't stand out at all. Now he's one of the most entertaining parts of Raw.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. Oh my God, are those guys not the funniest thing you've seen on Raw in years? They are hysterical.
Kofi always had his spots in the ladder matches in the Royal Rumbles, so he's always been entertaining. But now, the three of those guys, and I think you got to give a lot of credit to Xavier Woods, who seems to be like, I don't know, kind of like the brainchild or the leader of the bunch, if you ask me. Like, he kind of
got a PhD. I think that's pretty close to realistic.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. Like, him making the big impact that he has when he debuted as R-Truth's, like, lackey.
I remember that, yeah.
You know, it was like, it was very forgettable, but that's why things have to evolve. You can't just main event or, like, debut these guys in the main, like Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe, Finn Balor. They can't just come in and, you know, Kevin Owens they've done a good job with him, but I don't know, man. Yeah, it's real hard to find the next Cena, the next Rock, the next Stone Cold out of the bunch of any of the guys they have coming up. It's too soon to tell.
How do you guys feel about what they've done with AJ so far?
I think it's been fantastic. He got a great reception at the Rumble. It blew my. I mean, I obviously expected it like everybody else. He's going to debut, but just whenever it happened, it was, oh man, that was massive. And then the next night, he comes out there and has a 4 or 5-star match with Jericho on Raw.
Yeah.
And then goes on to have 2 more matches, both on SmackDown and at Fastlane. I mean, the Styles Jericho match at Fastlane was by far the best match of the night.
I kind of wonder if they brought Jericho in for that. Like, the timing of which Jericho came back was right around the time AJ was supposed to come in. Kind of makes you wonder if it was his idea to come back and elevate him a little bit.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least for Chris Jericho to have said, I want to work with that guy.
Oh, yeah. He's wanted to work with AJ for years.
It's perfect. Yeah, it worked out perfectly in that sense. But now what? Like, at WrestleMania, what are they going to do with either of those guys? It's hard to say.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost a shame that they had their feud as early as they did, because that could have been a WrestleMania match. But again, they had they've had 3 matches already, so it's like it's almost a shame that they kind of had it as quickly as it did. But I mean, they're great matches. Don't get me wrong. But
yeah. Well, I feel like for the past couple of years, WrestleMania has been like a 2 or 3 match card where they don't really give a shit about any of the other mid card.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, they've put together a lot of stuff that really didn't count. They have been doing better as far as the lower tier angles and storylines, but it's still not really cohesive across the board, I don't think.
And that's been consistent for the past 3 years, is the Rumble winner.
Yes.
Daniel Bryan, Batista, who was last year? Who won the Rumble? Roman Reigns. It's just kind of like the crowd shits all over it.
Yeah.
Then they pull something out of their back pocket, like, like we better scramble and come up with a new idea.
I mean, Brian, I was going to bring that up, actually. It seems like it's definitely been a pattern the last 3 years where they've had, they've had an idea of the main event that they want, and by they I mean The Office, but like the crowd uniformly like disagrees with that vocally. And obviously
it's hard to avoid.
It starts at around the Rumble, and then they realize, they kind of realize that they have to do a little damage control, and then they switch a few things around, and it turns out great. Obviously, Daniel Bryan's run at WrestleMania 30 was amazing, and they managed to take something that could have been a disaster and turn it into a great moment.
And that's when CM Punk walked out, was because I guess he might have seen that they were going with the Batista route, as opposed to the very obvious Daniel Bryan reactions. And I don't know what the timing.
Well, I mean,
of that
there were a lot of factors that led to that, but that's a whole podcast in and of itself.
And now he's in UFC to perpetually debut for the end till the end of time.
Yeah, a hot young up and comer.
Yeah,
right.
He's pushing 40 now, man. It's whatever.
I mean, but either way, getting back, it almost has made me think like one of two things. Like, okay, either they like know they kind of planned this and almost like did this in advance and like anticipated the crowd response would be what it was, only to have it misdirect, which I doubt they.
I doubt
that would be giving them a little too much credit.
Vince has revealed himself to be very out of touch and very.
But you gotta
stubborn.
hand it to them for two reasons. One, that they're able to kind of fix this stuff as consistently as they have and create like cool moments like Seth Rollins coming in last year and all that and creating good moments out of that. And second is you almost have to laugh at just how little Vince gives a fuck about anyone else.
I kind of respect it. I admire his "I don't give a fuck" attitude, but it also hurts.
You gotta hand it to him. Like he wants what he wants, and he finds ways to make that happen. He is the puppet master, and look, that's his company. It's his prerogative. But at the same time, it's just his complete disregard for what the audience wants is astounding.
It's actually, isn't it somewhat admirable when a guy just doesn't give a fuck to the level that Vince does? It's just like, wow, that guy does not give a shit. And I don't know, I kind of respect it in a way.
Either that or he's straight up delusional. This is what they want. Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, guys. This isn't something new. I mean, we're talking about the same guy who was dancing like a jackass and singing "Stand Back" in 1987.
Right. Like who was that for?
He had some sweet moves. I did rewatch the Slammy Awards not that long ago. And
oh, my God.
I got to say, they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that song is amazing. I don't care what anybody says.
Vince gets a lot of credit as being a genius, and in many ways he is. I mean, in terms of what he did with the business, but creatively, let's be honest, he's had moments of brilliance, but a majority of it has been incredibly ridiculous. Let's be honest.
Well, he's also has a writing team full of jackasses like Michael P.S. Hayes, and just idiots, man, that shouldn't be there anymore. But he has the final say. He approves a lot of this shit, and it is shit. A lot of it. It's just like, come on, dude. Like, who approved this?
I mean, everything has to go through the old man. He has the power to pass it or veto anything. But, I can't help but feel like he gets, which it is at the end of the day, the buck stops with him.
Right.
But he's not in there like he was back in the Hogan era and even up to the mid-90s, where it's him, Pat Patterson, Jim Ross, maybe 7 to 8 guys who were the inner circle.
Well, even Russo. Hogan was busy putting himself over for that run there he had the first 10 years.
Yeah.
Where did he have creative control? I feel like he had to have had. Like when he went to WCW, he did.
He definitely did at WCW. I don't think he necessarily had creative control in writing with Vince, but kind of like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
Pitched ideas, but I mean,
but every time he would drop the title, he would get it back from that same person.
That's just a matter of him knowing that he is McMahon's golden goose. I mean, could you imagine if Hogan decided to go to the NWA in 1989? There would be no WWF right now. There's no way.
Sure. Yeah, you got to give credit to Hogan. Well, there's two things. The Rumble kind of pissed me off this year because the only surprise entrant was AJ Styles, and I realized it was for like the WWE Championship, so they couldn't bring in like jobbers.
Yeah.
But the Rumble's always been cool for that reason. The only other big surprise was Sami Zayn, but no, like it's just, I don't know, it felt short.
Well, I mean, I was surprised that Triple H ended up going over. Like, I didn't really see that coming. I mean,
I think I think everyone knew he was going to come in at number 30. Whether he won or not was a different story. I thought he was going to help somebody else win.
Right.
Yes.
To be honest, but
I saw the end result of what was going to happen coming a month and a half away from the Rumble. It was painfully obvious. And I think that's another thing WWE's really got to work on. I mean, I understand, pretty much the three of us are like the ultimate smart marks. We kind of analyze it. We're always looking for that little tidbit that's going to tip off.
Yeah,
you're
the professor, man. I'm telling you.
We watch it because we want to enjoy it. That's the
exactly.
thing. Well, why do you watch it if you don't like it? It's like because it used to be amazing, and I don't know. Like,
to be honest, I watch it because of moments like Monday Night, where it completely blows me away, and it's like, holy crap, they're doing this. What?
Predictable as the Rumble and Fastlane were. That's the thing I liked about Monday was nobody saw that. Even when like the Dudley Boys return or some shit like that.
That was well done.
Throw me a curveball every once in a while to remind me why I still watch this shit. And I expect the Rumble to have like Kurt Angle or somebody cool. And
AJ wasn't a total shock because we kind of it was kind of rumored that he was coming, but I do like the fact that they've been treating him like it's a big deal that he's there.
Oh,
could they do more? Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're acknowledging that he's a big deal and he's not some rookie.
I don't like JBL calling him the redneck rookie though.
Yeah, that's
stay away from that. And
I get they're being heels, but come on.
Yeah, and guys, right now we're kind of at that point with AJ Styles where the honeymoon's over. The novelty of, hey, AJ is in WWE now, that's going to wear off. It's time for him to, I think it's undeniable that Styles can go in the ring, he can go on the mic, he's not going to have a problem performing up to the expectations of the fans. But it's just a matter of how he's positioned on the card, what kind of storylines they put him in. It's like I said, all of this with Shane McMahon coming in, to me, at the end of the day, if he is indeed going to be the one, even in just storyline to take it over or whatever it may be, there doesn't have to be any changes. Stephanie can stick around. Triple H can stick around. It's just people are tired of what they've been seeing on TV for these last few years, and I think Stephanie and Triple H are the biggest representations of that. So whatever happens out of this WrestleMania, it has to come with a stylistic change. The whole company needs a fresh look. Here's something interesting. They just completely revamped their website. Yeah. That's not that amazing of an event, but maybe that could be indicative of further changes to come. That they're trying to freshen things up.
I'd like to see exactly what Shane is going to do to mix things up. I guess he won't know until he wins, if he wins at Mania, but like what exactly is he going to do differently from Triple H and Stephanie to make it feel like it's, they did this years ago with Eric Bischoff. We tried to shake things up with the HLA and all that type of shit.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like Shane, it would have been kind of cool if Shane brought in all these new guys, like AJ or the Bullet Club guys. Yeah, have Shane have some kind of input. But that's what Triple H. It's very confusing. It's like, is Triple H and Stephanie? Are we supposed to like them or boo them or?
I kind of feel like that maybe Shane is just kind of like the figurehead, the on-screen representation of change is coming. I mean, Shane could go back to his business ventures April 4th and there won't be a big deal, or the night after WrestleMania. But I think maybe what this may represent is, and I kind of hope for it, but at the same time I'm kind of sad for it happening, because in a strange way I kind of like Vince McMahon. I think this is going to represent Vince taking a back seat more and not being that guy who says, no, damn it, this is the right idea, we're going with it. I think maybe we may see a little bit more of Triple H's influence on the main roster and on Monday Night Raw. And to be honest with you, I hope that Stephanie and Triple H and whatever team that they have working basically take everybody who's working at NXT right now and put them in the top slot on Monday Night Raw, because NXT as a whole has been outperforming WWE for a full year, if not more.
Even the card they have stacked up for NXT Dallas already is looking better than WrestleMania already.
Absolutely.
It's too early to tell, but
I mean, it's pretty remarkable when you see the differences between the NXT product and the current WWE main product. It's it really is it really does say a lot, as far as like who's running things and the difference in the vision behind it.
Yeah, but I bet Vince doesn't even see NXT as he sees NXT the same way ECW was.
Right.
Because it is very similar. It's kind of small, scaled back production. But
NXT
WCW was a threat. ECW was not to Vince. He didn't care.
NXT is what the ECW brand should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. My God, whatever that shit was in 2006 through 2010.
Like that show started off cool, but then it got to be more WWE light. So
I don't know. Did it? 'Cause
I
the first
wouldn't
episode
exactly
had zombies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't exactly say it started off cool. We had the zombie
Well, I mean,
getting
actually,
caned by the
they had
Sandman.
well, I mean,
Punk and
I
guys
love
like
that just because it was such a parody of like shitty WWE gimmicks, and it was just such like one of those things where
That's
I
true.
liked it in,
Yeah.
in that sense. I mean, it's not NXT level for what it was, but I
Well,
thought it was good the first couple
yeah.
weeks.
Cory, to go back to what you said about how they hadn't built up new stars over the past few years, they actually did they invested a lot in CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. And now that they don't have those two guys anymore, it really shows they got like the Shield. That's about, and Rollins is out. So they've teased the past few Royal Rumble and Fastlane, Dean Ambrose being champion. And I think if people really want that, like we're getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
It came down to Triple H and Dean Ambrose in the Rumble, and then Ambrose almost won the title the other night. Like, I'd like to see that happen eventually because this Roman Reigns, one of them is going to turn heel. I'm not sure which.
It's got to be Roman Reigns.
Here's
got to be.
People like Ambrose. Wait.
Guys, JR, Jim Ross, he actually had an interesting kind of pitch for an angle on his podcast, The Ross Report, earlier this week, and I listened to it, and it sounded kind of brilliant. Here's what he ended up saying. He's like, what if they did a thing where, Vince started to get in Roman's ear a little bit, and then started to hint at tensions between Vince and Triple H because NXT is doing so well, and Triple H is, out for power. It could be like a power struggle thing. I don't remember exactly all the details JR said, but hinted at there being like, since the reaction is going to be what it's going to be at Mania anyway, why not pull off like a coup and make it like a double turn where like
it has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
Where like Vince is like taking Roman under his wing, and that sets up Triple H as the baby face, and like that would be incredible.
Well, I mean, if the reaction that Triple H and Roman Reigns got at the end of this week's Raw, where Triple H basically brutalized Roman Reigns and left him a bloody mess,
right?
If that's any indication, I think WWE has been swimming against the current for some time now in regards to Roman Reigns.
Right.
I mean, he's been getting mixed reactions. I honestly felt like in December, whenever he captured the championship on Raw, I said, okay, finally Roman Reigns, he made that breakthrough. The crowd is finally going to start, backing him a little bit, but that has not been the case.
Right. They almost had it. They almost had it after the one pay-per-view where it's like Triple H was going out to shake his hand and just, Roman just went apeshit on him and just started beating him, and people were starting to cheer. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what we want to see.
And
But they didn't quite keep that going as him being like the defiant, babyface. But it's like they've tried to like position him as being anti-authority, but it hasn't really, like, no one's really buying it.
No, I mean, the comparison has been made many times, but it's very Rocky Maivia-esque. They're trying to shove him down everybody's throat and make him the big baby face. It's just not working.
Yeah,
and hey, it worked for The Rock. The Rock turned full heel.
Rocky Maivia down your throat when he first debuted to the level they are with this guy.
No, not nearly as much, but...
Right, and that moment at, what was it, Armageddon, where he attacked Triple H, that showed me a glimmer of hope. And it's like, okay, that's how they should push him as babyface. He could do it, but they didn't really follow it up with that as him.
No, and he's not
even
that bad, dude. People that they shit like, I don't know. It's not like Cena or Batista. It's just like he's got a good look.
I like Roman just fine. I have no problem with him as a performer, anything.
He's definitely marketable. Just about every female I know who likes wrestling is like, damn, that guy is incredibly good looking.
Right.
That's what they need. They need female viewership because they got Total Divas and all that shit.
That's a huge part of the market that they're looking to tap into. Yeah. And I feel like Roman Reigns has those same qualities as The Rock. Maybe not quite as outgoing as far as his personality and his improv skills. But
Yeah,
I feel
well-
like Reigns has a lot of those same qualities to where he could cross over one day into another form of entertainment, just like The Rock did.
And Batista and Cena, they've been in all kinds of movies the past year. And dude, this is another classic example of 20 years ago. If you would have told me Rocky Maivia would be the biggest movie star in the world, or Hunter Hearst Helmsley would own WWE, I'd be like, you're full of shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or Skin Batista would be one of the biggest movies of the year. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it's just not. You can't see it right now. Maybe they see things we don't see. I don't know if they do. Sometimes they just get lucky, but.
Well, I mean, I think Reigns has a tremendous upside. I mean, we'll have to see how it plans out, but it's a two-way street. Obviously, Reigns is a good performer, but he has to have the right angle and the right booking behind it.
I also didn't like the way they booked him in the Rumble, where he got injured.
Yeah.
And then he came back. It was like, how was that supposed to make him look deserving? He didn't win, but.
No.
And now this past week, I don't know if you saw after Raw, they said he had surgery in Tampa, of course, where he had some kind of facial nose surgery, some sort. But now my friend thinks that's to keep him off TV in the weeks leading up to Mania, which is a mistake, because he's going to be in cities like Chicago and New York and places that are going to shit all over him.
Right.
It's like, then he shouldn't be in that position. If people hate him that much that he's going to be in the main event at WrestleMania again, 2 years in a row.
Well, again, I think it's really up to WWE to realize this and stop swimming against the current. I think Roman Reigns catches a lot of flack as far as for his promos and stuff, which they are kind of groan-worthy sometimes, but the problem with that is if Roman Reigns is being handed a script, which a lot of these lines, you can tell, they came from a writer's room, and it just does not...
It's not his opinion. It's somebody else's word.
I think if you put Roman Reigns out there in a situation like these guys from the New Day are, where it's like, all right, here's a couple of bullet points, go out there and get this thing over.
I think he's got great chemistry with Ambrose. I mean, those guys. Yeah. I think Ambrose brings out the best in Reigns as far as his personality goes.
Absolutely, and I think that a heel Roman Reigns, if you had him in that position, I mean, it's not going to be hard to make the transition over there. Basically, all you got to do is put him in a suit and give him some sunglasses or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think by next year, man, we could have all three of the Shield guys main eventing if they're healthy.
Yeah.
At the same time, they all could be main eventing WrestleMania against each other, which is ultimately what we all want to see.
That's absolutely a money match.
Oh yeah.
I think Rollins being out really kind of fucked up all their plans this year. Like Cena, Orton, and Rollins all gone. They're really scrambling. I don't know what I would do. I know, with Undertaker and Kane and a lot of these guys really have no place for them. So
they have themselves sort of backed into a corner right now. And again, a lot of that comes from the fact that they have not elevated these people up to the point to where they're credible. Like 1 week they're challenging for the Intercontinental title, and the next week they're challenging for the WWE Championship. I mean, here's something crazy.
Yeah.
Back in 1999, I'm sure you guys remember the Big Show's dad dies angle, right?
I've been trying to forget that for years.
Okay, Survivor Series 99 was pretty much the culmination of that angle. That same night, the Big Show went from competing against the Big Boss Man with Kai and Tai as his tag team partners.
That's right.
To being WWE champion.
Right.
Now, granted,
because Austin got injured, right?
Yes. Yeah. Now, granted, that was a little bit different of a scenario, but at that time, the Big Show was positioned in such a way, and you could maybe accredit this to the fact that he's a fucking giant.
Right.
But he was positioned in a way to where it was believable that the Big Show could come out after fighting the Big Boss Man in hour 1 on the lower card for a month and come out and become champion. What's to say that someone like a Kevin Owens or a Kofi Kingston or a Big E,
did they shit all over the Big Show? I don't remember him getting booed when he won the title that night. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, everybody liked it. I don't think the run lasted too long, but it was his first championship.
Guess who took it off of him? Triple H.
That's right. That's right. So there you go. But, I think that if they had more people in line that were positioned to where at any moment they could become WWE champion, I think if they were a little bit more cohesive as far as what that pecking order is, that would be great. I've always harkened back to WCW's old top 10 ranking system.
Right.
It laid it out perfectly. This person is the next in line. These are the 10 guys, including our main champion, that this is it. These are the top contenders.
So, yeah. They only have 3 matches announced thus far, but, like, the names that are in those matches, Triple H is the champion, Brock Lesnar, Shane McMahon, and The Undertaker. It's, like, straight out of
relics.
2003, 2004. Like, not a lot has evolved over time. Like, it seems kind of silly. And they're all much older. Shane McMahon is 46, Triple H is 46, The Undertaker is going to be 51.
Yeah.
Sting is in this, it's kind of like getting desperate because they can't keep relying on these old guys. And that's what CM Punk's whole deal was. You can't keep relying on part-timers forever. But now even their younger guys, Daniel Bryan retired at 34. Like,
right.
Edge and Christian are both gone due to concussions. It's like this is a different game than it was years ago where guys could wrestle into their 50s, and now concussions are cutting careers short, so
yeah,
kind of shitty.
Well, do you guys have any predictions on what the rest of the card might look like based on what we've seen so far? Or
I have one.
About it.
I have one. The Dudley Boys have been touting the fact that the fans are not going to see any more tables because they've turned heel, and that's their big ultimate FU to the fans. Well, we had the New Day and Edge and Christian in that little segment. Edge and Christian, of course, have that show on the WWE Network. I fully expect them to be kept close by. It wouldn't be too hard to have Edge and Christian come back before WrestleMania in a segment with, say, the Dudleys and maybe the New Day, the Usos, maybe Lucha Dragons, a couple other tag teams there. And let's see ourselves one more TLC match at WrestleMania for the Tag Team Championship.
Well, like with Edge and Christian actually working?
No.
That's a horrible idea.
But with the Dudleys, because they've been saying no tables,
yeah,
it would be a situation where if they said you're going to be in a TLC match, the crowd's going to pop huge for it because we're not seeing tables every week.
Maybe we could bring back Terry Runnels, and it could be the Terry Invitational Tournament.
Bring back her perpetually erect nipples.
Good God.
Perpetually erect.
Yes.
Wow.
Which reminds me, do we want to do a quick review of Sunny Side Up?
No, we do not. That does not need to be reviewed.
I haven't seen it, which is shocking for me to admit.
Yeah.
I think I saw enough of it.
I'm shocked that you haven't either, Brian.
I should have a signed copy by now.
Right. It's
honestly, I figured that you would have analyzed that thing like the freaking Zapruder film by this point.
I'm surprised
analyze or analyze.
Well,
both.
Maybe a little bit of both.
I'm surprised you haven't started your own podcast to talk just about that.
Yes. And Virgil's tweets, because Virgil is the only other entertaining person on Twitter, and the Iron Sheik.
Right. That's amazing.
I'm easily amused.
Brian, by the way, I'm surprised you've gone an hour without a Lord Alfred reference. This is a new record for you.
I was going to open up the show with an Aaron Illiday reference, but I felt it would be too.
That's another podcast.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
As long as we're on the subject of Aaron Illiday, and this is no one, I expect no one else to have noticed this, but out of all your Phoenix Report episodes, guess which one has the most views?
Of course, that one.
Yeah.
Controversial, say it.
Of course,
controversy creates cash, brother.
Of course,
I had nothing to do with it having as many. By the way, I did nothing to promote it, and it could just have something to do with people Googling Brooks Wackerman or.
Oh yeah, I mean it came out the day of, and so I'm sure they loved hearing you and Bert Nolly shit on me for most of that episode.
I've been waiting for the right instance to compare something to Hail to the King or something like that. We don't need to go there.
No, we really don't. Back to wrestling. By the way, Is it me or is the New Day? Are they like fully babyface yet, or like what's happening with that?
They're starting that turn. You can tell.
You know, I mean that should be interesting because it's like obviously they're going to get cheered because they're so damn funny, but it almost I kind of like them as like the funny heels in a way.
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard to tell exactly direction they're going in with the unicorns and the rainbows. It's
like
very odd,
like I want to see people like beat the crap out of them on a weekly basis for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, I also feel like
it's kind of like Santino. I mean, but I mean, because eventually Santino turned face because he was just too funny not to.
You admitting you want to see hate crime on Raw every week by seeing these guys get their asses beat? I mean, what did they do to you, man?
I mean, why does it have to be a racial thing? I'm just talking
not racial. The fact that they
You said hate crime.
Well, there's another kind of hate crime, and that it would be homophobic. And that they're wearing unicorn horns on their heads and wearing...
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about man-on-unicorn violence here.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's really... I mean, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. And
had nothing to do with racial. You made it racial. So
well, you said hate crime. I thought that's where you went, because they happen to be African-American gentlemen.
Well, there's also the issue of humans harming musical instruments in the field of battle. That's true. That's true.
As long as we're talking about race, I would like to acknowledge that Titus O'Neil was suspended in Black History Month, and they also decided to induct The Godfather into the Hall of Fame, a black pimp.
Sure.
So good for them.
Who previously portrayed a voodoo priest.
And why no mention in his video of Kama, Papa Shango, all of his other
are they going to acknowledge the other gimmicks, or is it just for the Godfather persona? I don't get that.
You know, guys, Kama, chameleon, he comes and goes.
Wow.
He comes and goes.
Wow, you was waiting for that one almost.
Cory, I'll tumble for you.
I'll tumble for you.
Oh my God.
So it's that was one of the things that made me laugh. It's like, okay, we have Sting going in the Hall of Fame and the Godfather? Okay, sure, why not?
Well, that's why Daniel Bryan's not going this year. He's got to be next year.
Nope. From what I've heard, we're going to finally see the Freebirds go in. We're also going to see... I love it, Michael! We're going to see
Hayes,
JBL go in there, apparently.
Keeping with the Black History Month tradition, we got the Freebirds going in there.
Yes, of course. But on the serious side of recognizing... African American athletes who were both innovators and incredibly entertaining. I believe Miss Jackie is going to go in. Jackie
awesome.
Moore. That lady's well deserved. She put in.
She deserves to be in there for her boobs being exposed on Monday Night Raw against Sable. For that alone.
For that alone, and also the fact that she defeated Disco Inferno on Monday Nitro. That was pretty amazing, I gotta say.
Wait, she was on Monday Nitro? I didn't know.
Yeah, Jacqueline was. She was in WCW though. She was.
I believe she was cruiserweight champion in one of the two, WWE or WCW.
Yeah, I think so. I believe Jackie managed. She might have been with. I think she was Harlem Heat's manager after Scary Sherry, maybe or. No, let's see. No, it would have been after Colonel Robert Parker, who was after Sherry, and then Jackie was with him at some point along the way, I believe.
And Jackie came into WWF with Marvelous Mark Marrow.
Yep.
That's how we brought her in, and she was awesome, man.
We're putting over Jackie hard right now.
Hey, I mean, well deserved. Yeah. She. I
mean, Brian almost as much as Danny Cooksey, but yeah.
Almost. Nobody could be held up at that.
No.
Such high regard as, what was his name? Budnick?
That's right.
Bobby Budnick.
That's right.
Budnick.
Classic. One more thing I had, guys, that I had reported over on Chronocord on our YouTube is this upcoming Global Cruiserweight Series tournament.
Yeah. What's that going to be all about?
Well, it's going to be across 10 episodes. It's supposed to be a 32-man tournament featuring wrestlers who are all under, it's either 215 or 205 pounds. And apparently they're going to be using talent from other promotions as well.
Really?
That's what I'm understanding.
I mean, I'm sure they can, get guys from the indies, no problem. But Yeah, I wonder if they're going to use like TNA, Lucha Underground guys, or ROH, New
I
Japan.
would put the likelihood of them using TNA guys at very, very low,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I think they have a working relationship with Evolve, which is one of the top indies out there.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me to see them bring in a couple of Ring of Honor people. Certainly Japan. You've got Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan, New Japan, DDT. There's all kinds of promotions over there they could pick from. You've got the guys in Chikara, which that's a fantastic promotion as well. And then, of course, Lucha Underground, like you mentioned.
Yeah, but is the fact that they're under contract to another organization an issue?
Not to my knowledge.
Not necessarily.
But I mean, this is kind of unprecedented in that regard. That WWE,
it should be worldwide, no matter what federation you're in. It should be king of the cruiserweights by far.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to do with this. From what I understand, this may be a platform to elevate a guy that they signed from Mexico, La Sombra, who I've seen his matches, and the guy is pretty damn good in the ring. WWE signed him. He's at the Performance Center. He's supposed to be debuting soon, but even if you just took, say, the talent under 215 pounds on the main roster of WWE and NXT, that's already a pretty good start. It really sucks right now that Tyson Kidd is not healthy. Because I feel like he could really carry this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who are we kidding? Kalisto is going to win the whole thing. They got to build him up the next Rey Mysterio.
Right now they're positioning him like that. And Kalisto's done great. I mean, I think
that kid is on fire right now. He's got the U.S. title and having good matches.
I didn't expect him to come out on top of that Del Rio feud, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah, likewise.
I think we should have started this tournament earlier in the year for it to culminate at WrestleMania, if not start at WrestleMania. Like, it should have some kind of involvement with WrestleMania.
That would have been great.
I have a feeling, and this is kind of getting off track a little bit, I have a feeling that Bayley might be on the main roster sooner than later.
I believe Bayley is going to be on the main roster the night after WrestleMania. She has She has the NXT title match against Asuka at TakeOver Dallas. She's going to be there that weekend. It's time to make it happen. Whoever comes out of WrestleMania, the Divas champion, I could very well see Bayley. I could see that theme hitting and the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men. That was a mouthful.
I'd say, Asuka is probably going to win the title, and
I don't see how Asuka can't win the title there. I mean, they could stretch it out a little bit and get us. I mean, I could watch 10 Bayley versus Asuka matches, and I'm sure be entertained by them all. But
because Sasha Banks is on Raw now, and kind of just they don't really know what they're doing with those three.
They're starting to get a little bit more momentum going with Becky and Sasha, but this whole Charlotte reign has been a little bit bad.
And it looks like the Bellas are finally gone, I imagine. Not forever, but for the time being.
I think so, yeah. I think Brie's going to take time off to become a mom.
So, and you had mentioned TNA being acknowledged. Like, they haven't acknowledged AJ Styles any of his tenure there at all. So so the fact that he's a rookie is like he's been world champion a few times in some other promotions that they don't have a name.
I think they've mentioned the fact that he was a Ring of Honor champ at one point, and I think that
New Japan.
And I know that they've mentioned the IWGP championship for New Japan.
Right. And I mean,
JBL loves tossing that little factoid out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, they acknowledged the Ring of Honor stuff with Punk and Bryan and all their DVD sets and stuff. Like, they didn't make any, they definitely referenced the fact that those guys had been around on the indie scene. That it does something to, like, build up the guy's character a bit.
Right.
You know that he's not just some guy like Evan Bourne that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, that's cool.
But, yeah.
Well, anyways, guys, I'm curious to see how the undercard of WrestleMania is going to take shape in the next coming weeks. You know, you never know. WWE might pull out a really good WrestleMania like they've been managing to do in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
So
but I'm tired of the multi-man matches because it seems like pretty lazy booking when you put 6 guys in a ladder match who have no business.
I agree. It takes away from the
And the
tension.
tag, I like the tag title elimination matches, but not when it's just one fall to a finish, and it seems very like it leaves a lot like undone, left unsaid. But I feel like we could see AJ against Kevin Owens for one of the other.
Oh boy! If you want to talk about a match that has the potential to be the match in WWE all year, I think that's it. AJ versus Kevin Owens, man. Both of those guys are in their complete prime right now.
Yeah,
totally.
You think Ronda Rousey's going to make an appearance or do something?
Well, The Rock is going to be there. We still don't know what he's going to do. Probably just help Roman Reigns get over somehow and fail miserably.
All right, well, we'll see.
But
I mean that kind of goes back to what JR was suggesting. Have Roman Reigns turn on The Rock and stuff like that, and have that be part of a double turn thing. But that would be brilliant. But
Roman Reigns gives the rock bottom to The Rock.
I think there's some money in a Roman Reigns versus The Rock at SummerSlam match.
Maybe. I know they're not going to have Dwayne wrestle at WrestleMania because he's like in the middle of like shooting movies and stuff, and it's just
the past 2 years, we didn't know he was going to be there. He came out with Hogan and Austin that one year, and then
that was
last
great.
year he came out with Ronda Rousey and Triple H, and it kind of looked like they were setting up a match that has still yet to happen, but Ronda Rousey did lose. And
well, apparently the deal with The Rock, whenever he had that match in Miami, that we went to, Jack, at WrestleMania against Cena, he ended up tearing his abdomen, I think.
Oh no, that was Cory. That was the year after that when they were in New York and New Jersey. But yeah,
29.
That was 2 years after that. Yeah, it was up in Jersey, up in the Meadowlands. So,
but I guess what actually the deal is with him not competing is now, since that's happened, the movie studios that he ends up negotiating with have pretty much put a clause in there, knowing that he's a wrestler and that he might go, do this or whatever, that he can't. Again, this is all speculation on my part, but I would think it'd be a smart business decision on their behalf.
Oh yeah, just
basically put a clause exactly for insurance reasons. If he's in the middle of filming a movie, he can't go have a match. From what I understand, that's the deal. But
smart,
I don't know.
Then what role do you think he's going to play at WrestleMania? Because he's already said he's going to be there.
I think he'll just pretty much be an MC of some sort. We could see him get inserted as a special referee somewhere, I think. We could see a situation. We could definitely see a situation similar to last year where he just kind of comes out and has his little segment, and that's that.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Honestly.
They gotta involve Stone Cold somehow. They're in Texas, and maybe HBK. I don't know. I feel like they need all those guys.
They're going to need to. They need to be really stacking the deck up on these next couple episodes of Raw, building up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, they're going to need all hands on deck on this one.
They pretty much have the entire month of March 4 weeks of TV, 5 weeks of TV to sell everybody WrestleMania. The rent on Cowboys Stadium is not cheap.
Right.
What do you guys think of the Wyatt family losing to everybody?
It's a waste. I really like the Wyatts, but they
really should have won that on Sunday. They really should have beat Ryback, Big Show, and Kane.
Yeah, there was no reason for them to lose that match.
I've not that I've lost all interest. I've kind of just lost all hope in those guys being anything worthwhile.
I think so, man. Bray is the one who I really try to kind of focus the whole thing on because he's kind of the centerpiece of it. But man, as a performer, I think he's one of the best WWE has right now.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it comes down to how they're positioning him.
I don't see anything for those guys to do at Mania that's going to be like what? What are the Wyatts going to be doing? I have no idea.
They should be doing something. If they do, that's the big question. So we'll see. We'll see, guys. It's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks. I definitely want to have you guys back for a proper WrestleMania review and WrestleMania weekend review. I hope I can get Jen and Chad and Jason on board to get the full panel going. It's a shame those guys couldn't join us this week, but this has been kind of spur of the moment anyway.
Yeah, we're just at the start of the road to WrestleMania, and it didn't look too good a few weeks ago, but now I think we're all kind of a little bit more excited than we were because it was looking bleak, and now Shane McMahon has come back to save us all.
I'm legitimately excited. I've been a fan of Shane's for a while. He's sort of like my favorite, sort of part-time wrestler to step in the ring, if that makes sense.
And he still go though. That's the question.
I feel like and here's the thing about all of this being booked as it is right now. At face value, if we actually do end up seeing Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania, something incredibly crazy is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to see another Mick Foley off the top of the cell bump. It's going to happen.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, maybe. The fact that, like you just said, the insurance purposes, that guy runs like $1 billion cable company in China, as far as I know.
I think so.
But, like, is he really going to go through the top of the cell? Like, I would love to see it, but...
If there's anybody who's crazy enough to do it, yeah, it's Shane.
So, hopefully he is. The Steve Blackman match where he fell from way up top or something.
Or how about getting tossed ass over tea kettle through a pane glass window by Kurt Angle twice. Yeah.
But I mean, these matches were in 2000, 2001. It's like this is 2016.
It's quite a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should be taking those crazy bumps at 46 years old. But I mean, it doesn't mean it can't be a good match.
That's also how they get around Hell in a Cell being like a good match. Is like as long as he gets thrown through a few things, then it'll be worth it for people watching. That'll chant "Holy shit" at anything.
Shane has the advantage of not being a full-time guy, so he could afford to take those risks because he's not working every night, and he didn't.
Yeah, one last point, but what do you think The Undertaker? Why does he have to fight for the authority against Shane?
I was just about to bring that up.
Because next week he's going to be on Raw. He'll probably address that, and they'll probably figure out what that's all about.
If I were to, I guess my theory or my idea would be that if he doesn't, then his career is over.
Yeah,
he has to do something.
That makes sense.
I'm thinking that he's going to be painted to be in a position where Vince McMahon himself is going to come out and confront him and be like, I can erase you from history with one move. I'll fire your ass. You won't mean anything. Fire.
If you don't fight,
the last 20 years won't mean anything.
It's like I created you.
Yeah, I mean, but we've also seen the Undertaker
having dueling Vinces right now. That's amazing.
I think so. But we've also seen the Undertaker painted as the ultimate company man at points along the way, and that's definitely the case in real life. But there's a lot of really interesting ways they could go with this, and maybe that's the reason behind this booking. There's so many questions going into WrestleMania still. Will Cena be able to return? All kinds of different stuff. Maybe that they purposely put this match in there because they know at the end of the day they can go with that match. It should be at the very least decent. But if they need to, there's still room in there to make a couple little changes, like making it Cena versus Taker or whatever it could be.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Cena come back.
And then we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I just realized Braun Strowman will win that.
Mark Henry.
Oh, it's in Texas. No, that would make too much sense.
Yes.
All right. That's another meaningless award and title that they do nothing with.
Look what the past two winners have gone on to achieve.
Yeah.
Both Cesaro and the Big Show.
It's like, does it give him a title shot? No. Then, like, why do it? I don't know.
Why nothing against Andre the Giant, but why at this point do we, like, there's other guys that have passed, like the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, like.
That's true. I think it's just a way for them to take the usual battle royal that they've been throwing on Mania for the past almost like a decade now, and actually make it try to mean something, because I mean they're always going to have that match where they take everybody on the roster that they can, put them on the card so they get a payday.
Which makes the Titus O'Neil situation even more confusing because he's missing out on a WrestleMania payday. It's like, damn, like he really pissed them off.
All right. Well, anyways,
It's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, like I said, we got an exciting few weeks coming up. With any final thoughts before we sign off for tonight, Corey?
I've got one. I think we've mentioned it before. Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer recently met with Vince McMahon in Stamford at WWE HQ to pitch Orlando, landing either WrestleMania 33 and or possibly 34. Guys, if it happens, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. We are all three going to be there.
Yep, right in my backyard.
Yep.
So very cool. I also definitely want to take the time to say I want to give WWE a lot of credit. The send off they did for Daniel Bryan was amazing. They gave him one of the best send offs I've ever seen.
Yeah, I rewatched it actually. I just rewatched it yesterday because it was. It took me a few days to want to watch it because I knew I was going to be bummed out.
Yeah.
But it was good. Yeah, it was like a perfect end to his career that he won the title at WrestleMania 30 and 31, and now his career is over before anything else can be done to diminish it, I guess. So he went out on a high note.
I haven't always been a fan of the way they've used him or the way they've treated him, but it's at least now, I guess, after the fact, do they acknowledge how great he really was.
Oh yeah.
You don't think he's going to go on to wrestle anywhere else, do you?
No. I mean, I don't know if I really want him to wrestle again. It's just, just out of a human concern for him.
He needs to do what he said he's going to do and start a family with Bree and just take it easy.
I fully expect him to do just that, raise a family. I could definitely see him maybe working at the Performance Center one day, or opening up his own academy maybe. But as far as in-ring competition, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see him going on to have like an acting career. I mean, I think he's talented enough to, but I don't think that's something that he's interested in.
Well, and they always have the old general manager host for a night thing if they want to bring him back for a cheap pop somewhere.
Yeah.
But they don't want to have him on the road full time, and it looks like Bree won't be either. So good for them.
She's getting ready to retire.
Yeah, it's time for a new wave of guys, and it is kind of exciting to see what the hell they're going to do. But hopefully they know, and they're not just.
Anyways, Brian, any final thoughts from you?
Weird Al Yankovic's mandatory world tour tickets just went on sale today. So
yes,
nice.
That's my final thought is I'm buying Weird Al tickets. I'm going to see him for the 8th time.
Damn, you getting a cut of the house? What's the deal?
I feel like I should, because aside from Vince McMahon. I've done nothing more.
You really put Weird Al over,
people think I work for him, but
right. I mean,
someday
I
will.
The same way you think I work for Chris Jericho, so that, I mean, it all works out.
Oh, in the same way that John Laurinaitis is a close personal friend of mine.
Is that really something to brag about? I don't know.
Big John. I mean, he is banging Mama Bella right now, so I'm jealous.
I guess. All right, guys. Well, that's
it.
Well, that's been great. Thank you guys for coming on. Check out Cory's stuff over at Chronocord on YouTube at chronocord.com. Brian is always around. He's always
don't bother me. No, don't bother me. Leave me alone.
No, that's fine. You can find Brian trolling any of my social media accounts on a regular basis, questioning my choices at every turn.
You can find Jack messaging me immediately, asking what my problem is until I tell him that it's all kayfabe.
That's true. When I'm not working 2 jobs and anyways.
Aaron Illiday.
Yes.
And there is this little thing that you do called Vertebreaker that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty busy with the band, and I'm working hard.
Come on, give us the upcoming shows. Let's hear them. What do you got?
Say what? Some of the upcoming gigs?
Yeah. What are the upcoming dates? They bring it.
Oh man, now I got to think of that off the top of my head.
You got one in St. Pete coming up.
I do. That's going to be Saturday, April 9th at St. Pete at the local 662. We're opening for.
It's not just Weird Al that I'm hyping up.
I appreciate that. I appreciate any cheap pops from you. We'll be there with Soulfound and Trace of Day, 2 excellent, almost damn near legendary St. Pete area bands that are reuniting. Those guys have huge local fan bases. We actually a little inside story. I'm probably not supposed to say it, but whatever. We almost opened for Puddle of Mud, in April.
You told me about that.
Yeah, that's a shoot. I mean, the promoters ended up canceling it because of just Wes's craziness, right there.
Good call.
I mean, look. I mean, it's one of those things. It was in the works for a while. I was excited that it was going to happen, but it's not going to happen. No big deal. I mean, look. I mean, there will be plenty of other gigs. There are a lot of other things in the works right now that I can't even talk about yet. But
I feel like that guy might get himself killed before that gig would have happened anyway, because that guy is crazy.
Right. It's yeah, it's one of those deals. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty busy with everything I've got going on. I've got several jobs as well as Vertebreaker and being Christina's husband. So that keeps me busy, all of it. Thank you guys for coming on. This has been an hour and a half of your life you can't get back listening to us just ramble about wrestling, and somehow Aaron LJ and Danny Cooksey made it in there somewhere. But
every time. Lord Alfred.
Of course. All right. Well, on that note, I'll see you guys later. This has been the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor with Brian Connolly and Cory Wilson. Also here for Jason Hall, Chad Radosevich, and Jennifer Carnes. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.